Every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around.
It's what you do that defines you.
The world needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm angry. I'm vengeance. You think of me.
That's called courage.
Foul.
But I know the rage that drives you.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes. Working jobs we hate, so we buy shit we don't need.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
You don't build confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by giving yourself a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are.
There's people that are willing to go very far, and then there's people that are willing to go far further than that.
That's it.
And when you're a person who prides yourself on your ability to go very far, and then someone is willing to go far farther than you, you have to decide, do I want to look at that as the new standard? Do I want to judge myself? Do I want to admire him? Or do I want to try to take him down?
You're out running on the track, working out, and you start talking to yourself saying, man, my knee is really sore right now. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I need to back off, Man, my lungs are burning. Maybe I can just slow down here. I'll do like an extra 2 sets tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. That stuff's dangerous. And that's when you just gotta say, you know what? I'm not negotiating with myself. The deal was already made. The deal was made. When I set out at the beginning of the summer and said, this is the training plan I'm doing, I signed that contract with myself. I'm doing it. Throughout that process, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I think I need to, nope.
Because you know something, there's nothing holding us back except the limitations we have in our own mind. And the most important goal that you can develop, the most important quality or characteristic that you can develop for happiness and success is to be unstoppable yourself, is to think of yourself as unstoppable. And you know how you become unstoppable? It's by the basic psychological behavioral development principle of simply saying it to yourself. Because whatever you say to yourself and believe over and over again, you start to believe as a reality. You start to walk it and talk it and act it. So what you say is, I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I don't care what it is. I'm unstoppable. Nothing will stop me. The greatest of all qualities to guarantee success is the absolute willingness to go at anything and refuse to stop until you achieve it. And you know something? The statistics show that 95% of the goals that you set for yourself, you will achieve if you refuse to quit. Yes, so now from now on, whenever you see a barrier or wall or you think of anything you want to do or be, you say, wait a minute here. I'm unstoppable. Nothing stops me. And you know something? You will develop yourself to the point where nothing does.
Some people can see farther than others. Some people are impressed with limitations. We all live in our own world of limitations, and some people can see farther than others.
You're gonna be okay, and not in the way that people just tell you to make you feel good, but you're actually gonna be okay. And I want you to know the real reason why. If you're a good person and you treat yourself like gold, you're in the top 1%. And I mean that. It'll take longer than you want it to, but the simple path of doing the right thing pays off like crazy, and it's a path that most people will never take. Plenty of bad people have good outcomes in the short term, but the only thing lasting for them will be existential pain. But don't worry, because you should never subject yourself to the outcomes of people you don't act like, and you act like someone that's gonna end up fulfilled. And I couldn't be happier for you.
And so like the consistency of work, Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
And ask yourself this question. What one great thing would I dare to dream if I knew I could not fail? What one great thing would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail? Imagine you were absolutely guaranteed of success in any one thing, big or small, long-term or short-term, in the whole world. What would it be? And write it down. Now, that doesn't make your heart pound a little bit faster. Then maybe somebody should nudge you with their elbow because you're probably not alive or awake. The fact is that when you start dreaming big dreams, you know what happens? Is your self-concept goes up, your self-esteem goes up. The very fact that you allow yourselves to dream big dreams causes you to feel better about yourself, see yourself better, think of yourself better, and it starts the process of making yourself unstoppable. You become unstoppable. People with big dreams that they're absolutely committed to are unstoppable human beings. It's people with little dreams and no hopes and no plans beyond tomorrow and next week. These are easy people to stop. The people that have big dreams to make wonderful lives for themselves, they're phenomenal.
The most successful people live urgently. The most successful people are impatient. The most successful people have high expectations of themselves and of the people around them. The most successful people seem unrealistic and unreasonable in their expectations. And the most successful people are competitive. Society tells you that, you should be more realistic, be more reasonable with your goals. See, to you, all those things that are actual traits of successful people, you've been conditioned to think that these are traits of people who are cutthroat and harsh, but they're not.
Even if the thing that you're working on right now doesn't amount to the outcome that you expected that it would, it doesn't mean that you don't become better through doing it. I realize that no work is wasted because I am the output of the work, not the outcome.
There's a part of the journey that costs most people is not the other people who misunderstand them, but it's yourself. Because you've actually started to turn into this person you weren't before. And that person's like any adolescent becoming a new person. There's rough edges around them. And you got to give that person some grace and know that there's no way you're going to make your dream come true until you evolve to be the ultimate version of you anyway.
There's a battle you fight every day. You might not see it, you might not feel it, but it's there. It's a war within you, and sometimes it feels like you're fighting yourself. You've heard it said before, your biggest enemy is you. But here's the truth. Your biggest enemy is your uncontrolled mind. You see, the mind is an incredibly powerful tool. It can create ideas that change the world. It can solve problems, invent new things, and imagine futures no one has ever thought of. But when it's not in your control, when it runs wild, it can also destroy your peace, your clarity, and your potential. So, what happens when your mind is left unchecked, when you let it run the show? It creates chaos. It fills your head with doubt, insecurity, and fear. It tells you that you're not enough, that you'll never be good enough, that your dreams are impossible. It feeds you the lie that everyone else has it figured out except you. It convinces you that failure is inevitable and that success is for others, not for you. And while your mind is busy doing all this, distracting you with its noise, its endless chatter, its self-criticism, you start to believe it. You start to accept those limiting thoughts as truth. And before you know it, you're stuck, you're frozen, you're unable to move forward because you're trapped inside your own head. But here's the most important thing you can ever learn. You are not your thoughts. Your mind is not you. It's just a tool. And like any tool, it can be sharpened, it can be directed, and it can be used for good. The reason your mind is your biggest enemy is simple. It's the only thing standing between you and your potential. Your mind tells you things like, you can't do that. It tells you you'll fail. It whispers, what if you look stupid? What if they reject you? And every time you listen to it, every time you give in to the fear, the doubt, and the negativity, you're giving your mind more power. You're letting it decide your future instead of you. What's worse,
We're told to be realistic, to be careful, to avoid taking risks. We're taught that it's safer to stay small, stay hidden, stay in our comfort zones. But that's not where success lives. That's not where the extraordinary lives. The extraordinary happens when you push past your mind's limitations. It happens when you face the fear, the doubt, the what-ifs head on, and still decide to move forward. The extraordinary happens when you stop letting your mind control you and start controlling your mind. Taking control of your mind. You can choose what to believe. You can choose to replace the I can't with I will. You can replace the I'm not good enough with I am becoming the person I need to be. You can replace the I'm scared with I'm doing this anyway. The moment you take control of your mind is the moment you take control of your life. Because no one, no circumstance, no setback, no failure can stop you if you control your thoughts. The only thing that can stop you is your own mind, your own belief that you're incapable. You can choose to take action, even when you're scared. You can choose to keep going, even when you fail. You can choose to stop listening to the voice in your head that says, "This is too hard, this is too much, you can't do this." It's not about silencing those thoughts. It's about choosing not to listen to them. You don't have to follow every thought that comes into your mind. You don't have to let it dictate your actions. You have the power to choose your focus, to decide what thoughts you allow to influence you. The importance of awareness and practice. Becoming aware of your thoughts is the first step toward taking control. Pay attention to how your mind works. When do the negative thoughts show up? When do you start doubting yourself? Is it when you're about to step out of your comfort zone? Is it when you're about to make a big decision? Recognizing when your mind tries to sabotage you is the key. And once you're aware, you can begin to practice redirecting those thoughts. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not about suddenly becoming perfect at controlling your thoughts. It's a practice, a daily practice. Every time you feel doubt creeping in, every time your mind starts to tell you that you can't, you have the choice to redirect it. Master your mind, master your life. When you control your mind, you control your future. You become the creator of your own destiny. You decide how far you'll go. You decide how high you'll fly. The thoughts that once held you back become the very fuel that drives you forward. Your mind is your greatest ally or your worst enemy. It's up to you. It's up to you to decide whether you let it control you or whether you control it. And once you do, you'll realize that everything you thought was impossible is suddenly within your reach. So take back control. Don't let your uncontrolled mind dictate who you become. Take charge of your thoughts, your actions, and your destiny. You have the power to do it. You've always had it. Now it's time to use it. Your biggest enemy isn't out there. It's inside you. But once you master it, nothing can stop you. Because the enemy is no longer the enemy. It's your greatest ally.
You should be a monster. You know, because everyone says, well, you should be harmless, virtuous. You shouldn't do anyone any harm. You should sheath your competitive instinct. You shouldn't try to win. You don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too assertive. You want to take a back seat and all of that. It's like wrong. You should be a monster. An absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
It's like, is there something wrong with being competitive? There's nothing wrong with it. There's something wrong with cheating. There's something wrong with being a tyrant. There's something wrong with winning unfairly. All of those things are bad. but you don't want people to win? What's the difference between trying to win and striving? You want to eradicate striving?
Other than death, all failure is psychological. This failure, this upset, this catastrophe, if you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. Now, this does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will.
Every transformation always gets worse before it gets better. It's supposed to be that way. It's not an easy path. It's not for the ill-hearted or the weak-natured. It's for the strong people. And before you embark on this journey, mentally, you have to prepare yourself for it. It's going to get worse before it gets better. When you embark this journey, you must know that it's going to go down before it comes up. But when it comes up, it's going to go so much higher than you've ever been. Sacrificing today for tomorrow's betterment.
Unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive. And you have memories to make. So get up and go get after it. As long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed.
Maybe it's time to stop. No, it's time to move even further.
We're constantly looking at life. What is it? What is it? Where are we? Look how interesting. Look at different cultures, different beliefs. How do they come to that? How do I feel about that? What do I think? It is a daily adventure. You have your voice. It's there. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Create. Don't let anyone stop you.
You will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happened to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. I couldn't understand it then. But after I got through it, then I saw that that was preparing me for bigger and better things.
You have to be equipped mentally to endure this process.
And really ask yourself that question. What is it essentially that you are looking for living this life? Regardless of how old you are right now, how much of where you want to go did you achieve already? And also, are you actually still finding yourself on the way to wherever you wanted to go? So first of all, before we even know which future direction you would like to go towards, number one is we need to know where are we actually standing right now.
Another way of finding happiness internally, of finding everything that you need inside of you rather than outside from other people or just outside in the world, externals, is to also find responsibility there. So your responsibility is not to anyone or anything outside of you, but inside of you. Because we often have this idea, like animals do, or like children sometimes do, that if no one saw it, it's fine. If we didn't get caught, it's okay. The judge inside of us, constantly watching, because it's us, it's within us.
Adversity is the worst, right? Experiencing fortune's habit, as Seneca put it, of behaving however she pleases is brutal, right? Exiles, illnesses, financial setbacks, shipwrecks, floods, and famines, these types of reverses are bad, right? They don't have to be. Let's also say that change is neither good nor bad, it simply is. It can be greeted with terror or joy, a tantrum that says, I want it the way it was, or a dance that says, look, something new. But the Stoics knew that it was more than just a game of perception. It's what you do about it. It's how you respond. You choose to see the events of life, neither good nor bad, just objective, just reality. Yes, that's part one. But part two is the most important. It's the making them good. It's seeing it not just as new, but as a new opportunity and then making good on it. As Stockdale said, making it something that in retrospect, you'd never have traded away.
Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim.
So your laziness is something that has to do with you. You're not connected to something deep enough. You don't feel the necessity. You don't feel the devil at your heels. You don't feel the fact that you could very well die tomorrow that will impel you to get something done. There's no necessity behind it. And the human animal, the way we were created, is when we feel pressure, we feel the necessity to get things done. We can move mountains. But when that pressure, almost like a barometric pressure, releases, and we don't feel the need to get something done, we can become incredibly lazy because there's no necessity. So you have to create necessity in your life. You have to create the need to get things done. You have to give yourself deadlines. You have to remind yourself that tomorrow everything could go kaput. You could be fired, you could die, you could have an illness. Give yourselves a sense of urgency that I need to get things done.
You think everybody else is gonna die, not you. You kind of consciously know it, but you live like you got time. I'll get around to being happy. I'll get around to making it happen. I'll get around. Once things are in place, then I'm really gonna dial it in. You don't think you're gonna die. Begin with the end in mind. That's true in life. Who do you want to be in the end? What do you want to see? Where do you want to go? What do you want to felt? Who do you want to help? What do you want to achieve? What legacy do you want to live, if any? And you're going to worry about what people think? You're going to worry about the things you're scared of? This is your life. You got to start to get after it. I want to ask you a question. What are your fears? What are you scared of? Something that's blocking us, that's holding us back. Some people call fear false evidence appearing real. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution, but it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you.
You will never feel ready to do things that scare you. You will never feel ready to take that leap. This is where the 5-second rule comes in super handy. So if you are constantly procrastinating, you probably have a bias towards thinking, and you can use the 5-second rule to literally push yourself to take action. All you're going to do is count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, requires you to focus. This is a starting ritual that interrupts the patterns of overthinking, of fear, of anxiety, of procrastination. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. And here's the real secret to this. The second you started counting, you actually made a decision to change.
Listen, everything we think comes into existence. So only think things that you want to come into existence. How you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you.
The truth is you'll never have it all figured out, and that's okay. The only thing that matters is that you start. Even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, the only way to make progress is to take that first step, even if you don't know where the second one will lead. Perfection is about control, about seeking something that is impossible to hold on to. But progress is about moving forward. It's about learning, growing, stumbling, and getting back up. Progress is messy, raw, imperfect, and beautiful all at once. It's about taking action, even when you're unsure. The people who achieve great things are not the ones who waited until everything was flawless. They're the ones who were willing to move forward even when they weren't ready. They acted, they made mistakes, they learned from them, and each small step, each decision, each action, however imperfect, added up over time. They didn't worry about getting everything perfect, they just focused on getting better. And that's the key. Progress isn't about reaching perfection. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to take one more step forward, even when it feels like progress is slow. Because the small, consistent efforts you make today are what build the foundation for tomorrow's success. There's freedom in progress. It's about giving yourself permission to grow without needing to have everything perfect. It's about embracing the discomfort of starting before you're ready, of taking that first step, even if you don't have the whole plan figured out. You don't need the perfect blueprint. You just need the courage to move forward. Perfection keeps you stuck in a dream world, one where everything is idealized and nothing real can ever happen. It's a world of waiting for the right conditions, the right opportunity, the right timing. But progress forces you to deal with reality. It forces you to confront where you are, accept that you're not perfect, and keep moving anyway. Life isn't about creating a perfect image of yourself. It's about growing into the best version of who you already are. And that growth doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. It comes from learning through doing, through failing, through adjusting, and through keeping your focus on progress, not perfection. In the end, it's not about being perfect. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Each day, you get one step closer to the person you're becoming, not because everything aligns perfectly, but because you keep moving forward despite the imperfections. The road will never be perfect. The plan will never be flawless. The conditions will never be ideal. But the magic happens when you start anyway. The moment you stop waiting for the perfect time, it is the moment you begin to create your own opportunities. So stop waiting. Stop trying to make it all perfect. Start moving, start doing, start learning. Let go of the idea that everything needs to be flawless, and instead, embrace the mess, the progress, the beautiful, imperfect journey. Because progress, not perfection, is what gets you where you want to go. Every step, every effort, every imperfect action you take brings you closer to the version of yourself that you've always dreamed of becoming. Perfection is an illusion. Progress is reality. So focus on moving forward, no matter how small the steps. Because the person you want to be is out there waiting for you. Just on the other side of every imperfect action you take today.
And all of us have this conflict going on at all times inside of us. And it's between two forces. And the first force is your survival instinct that's been with us for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years. Wants to inject into you fear and doubt and worry and anxiety. It wants you to fight or flight. And that's kind of your voice of fear and your inner critic. And that's really loud. That voice is in your mind all the time. And then there's another voice, this second voice. And that voice has been written about and talked about by philosophers for thousands of years. And that voice has been called many names. It's been called your intuition. That voice is a little quieter. And that voice isn't in your head. A lot of times it shows up in your body. It shows up in your heart, your gut, your chest. You feel that. And unfortunately, that first voice really drowns us out a lot of times. And the thing is that the voice of fear will lead you to a life that's too small. And you know this. You already know this. And the way that you know this is you feel this. You feel this conflict, this dissonance and tension when you're in that position, when you're doing something that's too small. If you want to reach full power in this one life of yours, it's in the second voice. It's in the voice that's the real you.
So if your false identity says that you're a loser, you're a deadbeat, you're not deserving, you're a failure, you're not worthy, you will find evidence in the world to reinforce that. If your identity then says, I'm a winner, I'm deserving, deserve happiness, abundance, joy, success, and I will always find evidence in the world to find that. It starts off with rewriting your story. Be specific about how you want your life to look in the categories that matter. Write down specifically what you want your life to look. And then once you write that down, go, what are the habits that this needs to have in order to bring that story to life? When you bring that story to life, the false identity sheds and the new identity is developed.
It's a long grind, and it's totally worth it because it's not about where you get, it's about who you become in the process of getting there. And when you quit, you'll never meet that person. The hard part of quitting is not just that you lost your dream. That's bad. Worse is you're never going to meet the man or woman you could have been had you pursued it. But what is even way better than you think it will be is who you become in the process of getting there and being proud of you. And I can tell you, the things you'd be most proud of is the fact that you lasted, is the fact that you got up after you quit, is the fact that you go, you know what, I did quit, but I'm getting back. I'm getting back up. I lasted. I'm tough. I'm resilient. I'm mentally tough. I innovated. I pivoted. I improved. I grew. I fought. I clawed. I competed. I won. That's way better than you think it is. It's way better. Man, remember that when I almost quit? Remember that time I was down for a while? Remember when that person said this? Remember when that controversy? Man, that one would have knocked anybody. Remember when that person stole from me? Remember when that person did this to me? Just so you know, everything you think probably bad will happen, probably will, and worse. And that's what makes it so sweet when you last.
Live your life at full power. And I believe that that power is already inside you right now. And that the way to access that power is through your second voice. And your second voice is not just the path to accessing that power, but it will also show you where to direct it, to have the biggest impact that you're going to have in this world. That voice speaks to you in the language of energy. That's how you know what it's saying. So go toward that energy and make a promise that you will constantly move in the direction of the thing that gives you energy, particularly the thing you knew you would do if you knew you wouldn't fail. That voice wants you to go all in. It wants you to experience yourself at full power. So make a promise that you will not wait, that you will not utter the words, not now, but you'll go all in with wherever you are in your life right now. I used to think that there were millions of decisions that we would make and that life was really complicated. I think that I've realized if you want to live at full power and feel the full magnitude of what you can do in this one life that you have, that there's really only one decision. Which voice will you listen to?
I think when you feel stuck or dissatisfied in your life, it's a signal. And it's not a signal that your life is broken. It's a signal that one of your most basic needs are not being met. Your need for exploration. Everything about your life, about your body grows. Your cells regenerate, your hair, your nails, everything grows for your entire life. And your soul needs exploration and growth. And the only way you'll get it is by forcing yourself to be uncomfortable. So get out of your head. Your feelings are screwing you. I don't care how you feel. I care about what you want. And if you listen to how you feel when it comes to what you want, you will not get it.
A human being has to have a sense of purpose. The feeling of no purpose is suicidal. So what people do is they create a false sense of purpose. The false sense of purpose will be attention. If I get so much attention from people and so much recognition, then I'm fulfilled. But then you can never realize that. You can never get enough attention. It's an individual. You had a purpose in life. You had something you were meant to achieve because you have a unique DNA, unique genetics, and unique parents, a unique experience. Something about you is truly original and weird. And to the degree that you mine that weirdness and your uniqueness, you can become fulfilled. You can create something beautiful and lasting.
We live in a world obsessed with perfection. The perfect body, the perfect career, the perfect relationship, the perfect life. We scroll through social media, flipping past polished images, filtered moments, and curated stories. It's all so easy to get caught up in this illusion of perfection. That if you just get everything right, just line up all the pieces, then success and happiness will follow. But here's the truth. Perfection doesn't exist. It's an illusion, a moving target that you'll never quite hit. And the more you chase it, the more you waste time trying to get everything just right, the further you'll drift from your real goal. Because perfection isn't the goal, progress is. We are conditioned to think that we need to have everything aligned before we can move forward. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. But while we're waiting, life is passing us by. The version of you who has the life you dream of isn't the one waiting for things to be perfect. It's the one moving forward, no matter how imperfect the journey looked. The problem with perfection is that it paralyzes you. It keeps you stuck in the planning phase, in the research phase, in the thinking phase, forever refining, forever adjusting, never doing. You wait for the moment when everything aligns, but by the time it does, you've lost so much time that it hardly matters. If you're constantly waiting for things to be perfect, you're wasting your life away. You're stuck in a cycle of waiting and doubting. You tell yourself, I'll start once I have this figured out, but that day never comes.
The only way to handle danger is to face it. If you start getting frightened of it, then you make it worse, because you project onto it all kinds of bogeys and threats which don't exist in it at all. The rule for all terrors is head straight into them. When you are sailing in a storm, you don't let a wave hit your boat on the side. You go bow into the wave and ride it. So in the same way, old folklore says, this is an old wives' tale with a lot of truth in it, whenever you meet a ghost, don't run away. Because the ghost will capture the substance of your fear and materialize itself out of your own substance.
You've made a commitment to pursuing a better life for yourself, to pursuing your dreams and ambitions. And unfortunately, just so happens that when you do that, things can get pretty lonely. It gets really difficult sometimes because now you have to face adversity and challenges and by yourself. you are exactly where you need to be. Far too many people abandon their path. And it's because they forget their why they chose this journey in the first place.
There's two paths in life. This is the path I chose a long time ago. It's the lonely road. You're gonna feel alone all the time. You can have a team around you, you can have mentors. Trust me, you'll feel alone. You're gonna wake up earlier than everybody else, you're gonna go to bed later. Most everybody else will do this. The crowded road. It's well lit, there's navigational equipment, there's directions, really good roads. The lonely road, no navigational equipment most of the time. It's dark, it's not well lit. There's these huge ups and downs, woo! Massive turns. Roadkill along the side of other people who quit on their dreams. Or you can go back to where all these guys are.
Man, if I want to be good, I gotta wake up in the morning, I gotta do the extra work. And I gotta show up when other guys aren't. And I've gotta learn, I've gotta continue to be open to learning.
Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you. Your mind goes on automatic, just like a God. You know, I loved reading the book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. He uses the analogy of the mind being like a garden. You know, weeds don't have to have any encouragement to grow. But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through. Well, by the same token, you don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have
it. It's not on everybody else. It's on you. You have to make things happen. Nothing is going to be given to you.
Everything is to be found within, including this. And yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to even admit to oneself of having done wrong. And this doesn't mean that if you've done wrong and you did look over your shoulder and you saw that no one saw you and you just moved on without taking responsibility, that you're now have to act like that forever. Philosophy is also, and that judge within you, is also very forgiving. As harsh as that judge is, the judge does allow you to come back time and time again and to try again to be better, because in the long run, that's all that matters, that we become better, as best as we can become. Not to this or that standard, but truly, honestly, the best that we could possibly be.
Believe in your vision like it's already done. Let that belief be so deep that no setback, no rejection, no external noise can change it. You already know what you're capable of. Now it's about showing up every day and proving it. It won't always make sense to others. That's fine. Your path isn't about their approval. It's about your transformation. Trust that if you refuse to quit, life will eventually hand you the reward that's meant for you. Stay relentless. Stay locked in. You already have everything you need to win.
You have to make things happen. You have to do it yourself. No one's going to give it to you.
When you look back on it, you'll find that your whole life is a series of remarkable coincidences that initially look like difficulties or setbacks, but in retrospect, they contained within them valuable lessons that you needed to learn in order to achieve the goals that you achieved.
Basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want, or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life.
Okay, well, if you have some faults and you feel insecure and inferior because of that, well, you should. Now, it shouldn't be so much that you're crippled by it and unable to take action. You shouldn't be beating yourself into the ground because you're not everything you could be, because no one is. And if you beat yourself into the ground, then you can't get up and improve. But you have to differentiate. It's like, okay, to what degree am I being hard on myself, counterproductively critical, adopting inappropriate stereotypical representations of masculine competence? How much of my self-criticism is ill-advised? Fair enough. And you want to deal with yourself with a certain amount of care. But then, along with that, there's the, well, fix your weaknesses.
Tell people there's a daily practice. Like if you get up and you just have no discipline whatsoever, you get no value in anything. Your diets don't work when you don't do them. Exercise doesn't work when you don't do them. But most of the people have some experiences that they want to shift. And once you shift those things, your whole life changes. But life is constant growth.
Everybody is motivated by 2 different things. One, you have the beautiful things in your life. The flip side of that equation are the things that it's people that doubt you. I find in very acute moments, the darkness serves you better.
How specifically am I going to achieve that goal? Like, what are the strategies and the tactics? Meaning, what are you going to do? How specifically are you going to do it? By when? I'm going to ask myself empowering questions like, how can I overcome this obstacle? What can I do to overcome this obstacle? To manage your mindset and your emotions. What are you going to do to overcome the obstacles that are in your way, whether they're mental obstacles, physical obstacles, financial obstacles, strategical obstacles, tactical obstacles? Well, yeah, if you want to achieve goals, there's a thinking, there is a feeling, and there's a behavior that gets you there.
You can't give away what you don't have. You can't give away love for others if you don't have love in here to give away. If what you have in here is contempt, if what you have in here is anger, if what you have in here is fear, then these are the things you're going to be giving away in your life.
You need a sustaining meaning that's deep and profound, and deep and profound enough to get you through bad times, because there will be very bad times in your life. There'll be death, and there'll be illness, and there'll be disappointment of all sorts. And there'll be just the standard difficulties of life in the world to contend with. And you really must have something that's profound and powerful to set up against that. And I think that your voluntary adoption of the struggle to improve being is the proper antidote to that.
Right now, in most people's experience, it is me versus universe. This is how people are experiencing life. Otherwise, why continuous anxiety, fear? They think they are fighting for their life all the time. Why? They are fighting the whole universe. Individual and the universal, Being in competition with the universe is a stupid thing to do.
The thing that will make me love my life the most is to do the things that are fulfilling. And I think fulfillment has a very specific, universal formula. And that formula is work your ass off to get very good at something that you care deeply about, that allows you to serve not only yourself, but other people. That's it.
The simple thing is this. See, if your joy, your sadness, your happiness, your misery is determined by something or somebody around you, the chances of you being joyful in your life is remote.
The core of what really matters, that we are the same. And you know how I know that? Because all of us are seeking the same thing. And we'll go out into the world and each pursue based upon what you believe your talents are, what your skills are, maybe your gifts are, but you're seeking the same thing. Everybody wants to fulfill the highest, truest expression of yourself.
Deep down inside, I believe most people on the planet are heartbroken. Why? Because they have betrayed the visions, ambitions, values, mission in their heart. They have betrayed their talent.
One of the things that first comes to mind, if we were just to try to say in a few words, what's mindfulness, a very common response might be, well, it's living in the present moment. It's being in the present. So that's a pretty good beginning. You're all very aware of how much of the time we are lost in thoughts of past and lost in thoughts of future. Sometimes very little time is actually spent in the moment, because of this proliferation of thoughts. Because we can be observing experience, and we often are, through many different filters in the mind. We can be observing experience through the filter of desire. We can be observing things through the filter of anger or aversion, or through the filter of delusion, where there's just a cloudiness. We're observing, we're in that mode, but the observation is being conditioned by the particular mind state.
Taking risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. It begins to take small steps, small risks. To not only take risks, but to be open to life, to accept new views, and to be open to new opinions. For while it may be frightening, it will also be rewarding. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, and remember this, fall forward.
Today matters. We over-exaggerate yesterday. We overestimate tomorrow.
And if we all got our act together collectively and stopped making things worse, because that's another thing people do all the time, not only do they not do what they should to make things better, they actively attempt to make things worse because they're spiteful or resentful or arrogant or deceitful or bundled together in an absolutely pathological package. If people stopped really, really trying just to make things worse, we have no idea how much better they would get just because of that. And the failure of individuals to adopt the responsibility that they know they should adopt. Because it isn't merely that your fate depends on whether or not you get your act together and to what degree you decide that you're going to live out your own genuine being. It isn't only your fate, it's the fate of everyone that you're networked with. And so, you think, well, 7 billion people in the world, and who are you? You're just one little dust mote among that 7 billion, and so it really doesn't matter what you do or don't do, but that's simply not the case. It's the wrong model, because you're at the center of a network.
It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done it better. The credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena, who, at the best, in the end, knows the triumph of high achievement, and who, at worst, if he fails daring greatly. It is not about winning, it's not about losing, it's about showing up and being seen. The second thing, this is who I want to be. I want to create. I want to make things that didn't exist before I touched them. I want to show up and be seen in my work and in my life. And if you're going to show up and be seen, there is only one guarantee, and that is you will get your ass kicked. So you have to decide at that moment, if courage is a value that we hold, this is a consequence.
Running through the tape in your mind, telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough, you're not enough. If you're not conscious of that, then you end up acting out of that belief system and not out of what you know to be the truest or want to be the truest for yourself. You don't become what you want, because so much of wanting is about living in the space of what you don't have.
Your better future is a dream for yourself and for your family. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to see? You've got to dream dreams. Without dreams and visions, people perish. You've got to have something to go for that inspires the heart and the soul. The dreams of love and enterprise and travel and doing things, becoming something unique on your journey here. Don't lose your dreams. Do some dreaming.
You're doing something that you don't want to do, so you want to postpone it. I'm asking, why the hell are you doing something that you don't want to do? No, because if I do this, I will get that, I will get that. That's not the point. There's nothing to get in this life. There's really nothing to get in this life. Either you lived this life in a profound and intense manner, or you did not. What will you get in the end? Huh? So in the end, what will happen to you and me? They will either bury us or burn us. That's all will happen in the end. You think something else, they'll give you a prize? Nothing will happen in the end. Only thing is the process of life. How wonderfully did you live? That's all there is. So if you are doing something really wonderful, do you want to prepone it or postpone it?
So you must find what is it that you really want to do. If you find that one thing, you will always prepone everything, not postpone.
And so that's how you're connected. And the things you do, they're like dropping a stone in a pond. The ripples move outward and they affect things in ways that you can't fully comprehend. And it means that the things that you do and that you don't do are far more important than you think.
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You gotta get it wrong to get it right. You learn nothing from winning, you only learn from your failures.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it. Really was. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward.
If you don't have what you want, stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money, you don't have the time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats. And you will take the island because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, tend to succeed.
Here's the truth. This is the reality. Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it. The work is going to come before the belief, which means you're going to have to work for a long fucking time by yourself with no applause, with no awards, with nobody telling you good job. And then once you start to build something and people start to see the momentum and they start to see the result and you start doing some things, then you're going to get a little belief. And then what's going to happen is you're going to believe. And then what's going to happen? You're going to go do a little bit more work and a little bit more work. The results are going to come more. More people are going to believe. Nobody fucking believes in you because you haven't done anything yet. That's the reality.
We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone.
Do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Imagine you're on your deathbed And standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential, the ghost of the ideas you never acted on, the ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
No matter how much emotion and feeling you may have or how much hurt you may have, life has to go on. I can't stand in the past and bathe in what was wrong.
You want to make a change, you have to change your vision of who you are. You have to begin telling yourself a different narrative. And the narrative you tell yourself about yourself is everything. And if you tell yourself that you're a scared, undereducated kid whose family has never accomplished anything, let me tell you what you will become. A scared, undereducated kid never accomplishes anything, because that's what you believe. You tell yourself that story enough, and it will become real. On the flip side, you could tell yourself a story of you're a learner. You learn faster than most people. You're willing to put in more work than most people. You're willing to read more books than most people. You're willing to spend an inhuman amount of time every day improving your mind simply by getting new ideas into the system.
10 years of motherfucking work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, is gonna pay off.
Just like all of us, we all had our tests. God gives us our tests to really show how strong we really are. Tests that we don't even know. Maybe losing our parents at a young age. Or maybe losing somebody that affected our family or did something to somebody with a rush. Just whatever it may have been. So it may have affected us. It may have been for, a matter of years, And that's what it's really come to, overcoming the adversity in life. It's what happens when you deal with that adversity. What are you gonna do? You gonna lay down for it, or you gonna keep fighting it? And that's what life's about, fighting adversity and overcoming adversity and seeing what kind of person. Are you gonna be bitter and mean because life wasn't kind to you, or you figured it wasn't kind to you? Or are you gonna just then live life to its fullest means?
And most of what you are trying to accomplish today or tomorrow is the same thing you were trying to accomplish 20 years ago. You're the same person that you were then. If you lose that little spark that kept you motivated, because that's the most important thing. That's the thing that's going to bother you more than anything else. You will look at yourself one day and you won't know who you are because you don't remember who you were. Sometime along the way, or maybe at 13 or 14, we let go of the little person that kept us going. That person, when we get about 13 or 14, we get embarrassed of him. And we push him aside and we don't listen to him anymore. And after so long of a time, maybe 10, 15 years, you don't even know him. You show up at your own door and you don't even know who you are. Your family doesn't know who you are. So it's important, no matter what you do, no matter what challenges you go through, you remember who you are.
If there was ever a time in your life where you were more committed to your dreams, your aspirations and goals than you are this very moment, I need you to remember that life is a gift. It's a loan. That the very moment that you are in right now is not promised, yet you're here. And so you owe yourself that debt, to reignite that fire, to find the wick of purpose and light it up like never before.
So I ask, what is your wake-up call? What is enslaving you? What is controlling your thoughts? Is it the television set? Feeding your mind images of what life should be? Or is it weakness? A lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
Get up and go after it. Chase down those goals. Chase down your dreams. Plan on purpose. Whatever it is you thought, whatever it is you got comfortable with, whatever it is that got you to take a pause, I need you to fast forward and go after it with new gusto. I need you to bob your head to that rhythm of life that says, this is your time. This is your moment. There is something positive about igniting and being honest with yourself about your goals.
Start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you. So I'm saying learn to be your own booster. Start building yourself up. Start encouraging yourself. Start saying, I can do this. I can make this happen.
We're gonna keep living in our limitations, man. Like when you understand that you're worthy, God has already equipped you. When you understand that God has given you a purpose, these opinions, these struggles, all those things that try to hold you back, man, they really don't matter as much. They don't have as much power in your life. This isn't a message to tell you that you're not gonna go through anything, because you're gonna go through a lot. This is the world. You're gonna go through hard times. None of us are exempt from the storm. None of us are exempt from the struggle. None of us are exempt from hate. None of us are exempt from criticism.
There is an upgrade version of you that is coming because you work for it. It's not given to you, you earn it by every day rededicating yourself to get up, to go after your goals and dreams. Now, what are your goals and dreams? They're pictures of what's possible when you commit yourself to be more than you were.
The only person that can get in our way is us. It's me. It's you. It's not those people that don't like you. You're giving them power.
Get up and wake up and be conscious of what is creeping into your mind. What's getting in there? What are you letting in there? What is forcing itself in there? And what does it want you to do? You have only one life. So don't waste it being controlled by someone else.
Your only competition is you. Because if you pull out everything that's within you and you go to war with it against any situation, whether it be trying out for your team, trying to get a promotion, or starting your own business, if you bring out the best version of you, if you fail, you can at least look at yourself and say, I gave it my all, and there is satisfaction with giving your all.
I promise you, there is a new level. There is healing. There is strength. There is courage. There is confidence. There is a next level of greatness with your name on it. But some of us, we so wrapped up into our self-pity. We so wrapped up into what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is saying. We so wrapped up into being a watcher that we don't claim it. You claiming struggle? You claiming generational trauma? You claiming generational curses? You claiming all these things, and you allowing those things to stick to your soul. You're allowing those things to become you, because thoughts become things, things become behaviors, and behaviors become us. You're allowing those things, you're not claiming that greatness that God gave you.
I believe if you find that best version of yourself because you committed yourself to being more, the elevation that you took from one level to the next will propel you to a greater destination.
It's the adventure along the route, man. And I would say, where's that adventure to be found? In faith? What's the faith? The highest value is love, and truth is its handmaiden. It's like a marriage, it's the same thing. It's like, well, is this the person for me? Oh, that's the wrong question. How do I find out if this is the person for me? By binding myself to them. Well, maybe the same thing's true of life, right? You bind yourself to it. And the tighter you bind yourself to it, the more you find out what it is. And that's like a radical embrace.
No plane gets up and doesn't have a destination. You must have the goals. Write them down. And when turbulence comes, take that deep breath and realize you can ride this out. You're buckled in with aspirations, with a plan of attack, with a plan of purpose and discipline. There is more to you than anyone knows, even you.
Your life's task, as I call it, is to return to those inclinations and to that uniqueness that marked each and every one of you at birth. Whatever age you find yourself, you must reflect back upon those earliest inclinations. You must look at those subjects in the present that continue to spark that childlike, intense curiosity in you. Based on these reflections, you determine a direction you must take.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's great power in adversity. If you're a victim of any kind, make sure you use that to become successful. Don't look for revenge, look for the reckoning. And I guarantee you, all those people with you growing up, you might just be the boss.
Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story. 80% don't care and 20% glad it's you. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it?
Begin. This is where it begins. In the darkness, before the sun and the birds and the world, every day. When the alarm sounds, it's time. Rise. Despite fatigue and soreness, curse the warmth of the bed. Curse the comfort of the pillow. Fight the temptation of weakness. Get up and go. Do it quickly, without thought. Do not reason with weakness. You cannot. You must only take action. Get up and go.
Let me tell you something. You keep burying those dreams, the longer you wait, the harder they are to find. It's time you dig those things out right now and find them and put them right in front of you again and go chase them. You can have a great family and a great business and a great financial situation and feel great about yourself and travel the world and do whatever the heck it is you want. But you need to dig those dreams out right now.
Most folks know what they dream about and what they want. And yet, they're spending all of their time and energy arguing against what they want. And so you can have all these epiphanies, but it's not gonna mean if you don't take action and do something about it. The aha moment is the door that opens, but your new life does not begin unless you step through the door. That there is somewhere in your life that you know what you want. You can feel it pulling you, and you are actively arguing against it. You're bringing yourself down. You're beating yourself out.
I got it now. I understand now. You are attracted to greatness because greatness is all in you. But it's easier to watch greatness. It's easier to go see greatness than it is to put in the time, to put in the energy, to discipline yourself, to sacrifice. It's easier. And so that's why you average. And so you frustrated because you're not living like you should live. No, you don't have what you should have. You're not being who you should be. And so that's why you don't want to wake up in the morning. That's why you pissed off with Monday, because Monday is the day that you're supposed to go mold and shape and create your greatness. That's why you like Friday. I get it. Because Friday you get to chill. You don't have to face yourself on Friday. You don't have to face yourself on Saturday or on Sunday. That's the day that everybody is partying. Everybody's drunk. Everybody gets to forget that they didn't become who they were supposed to come during the week. That's why. I get it now, but I challenge you. Listen to me. I challenge you. Why do I challenge? Because I know you can't. I know, listen to me. Some of you, you're not even in the game. Can you do me a favor? Get in the game. You could be great if you just showed up. Get in the game.
That is you. That is you. That no one can do it for you but you.
You know, what you allow is what's going to continue in your life. It's hard to accept this, but what's happening in our lives, we're allowing it to happen. And to some extent, we almost believe we deserve it because we produce in our life what we really believe we're worth, what we really believe we deserve. And it's hard to accept that because it seems coincidental, you know, that the wrong person entered our life, or there was a business setback, or our car broke down, and it seems coincidental. But you really truly are getting out of your life what you believe you're worth, what you believe you deserve, and you're allowing it to happen. And I'm gonna challenge you today to stop that. Stop allowing it and know that you deserve better.
Those steps for success, they're infinite. They are infinite. You cannot count them. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Those steps are constantly shifting. You don't know if they're there. Sometimes you have to trust that the next step is going to be there when you can't even see it.
Hold the line. Instead of going backward, instead of decaying, get stronger. Get better, grow and learn and develop and live. Live in defiance of the weakness and in rebellion against the decay. Fight them as they creep in with their offers of instant gratification and immediate rewards. Fight them for every inch they try to take. Do not surrender any ground ever. Hold the line.
If the guiding light in your life is that you only do and believe that which moves you towards your goals, when you get into that loop of beating yourself up and thinking that you're worthless or that you're never gonna make it, remember that. That belief does not serve you, and you don't do things that don't serve you.
And even though you face disappointments, even though you will experience some setbacks, it goes with the territory. You must understand that. It's not over until I win.
A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials.
A plan is better than no plan. That's a really useful thing to know, especially if you're kind of drifting. It's like, well, I'm gonna find myself. It's like, no, just pick something and move towards it. And as you move towards it, you're gonna succeed and fail. Specifically, And then you're going to learn something about success specifically, and you're going to learn something about failure specifically, and then you can learn what you use to fix your plan. And have your successes and failures along the way, and learn from them, and then you can rejig the goal. You can move the target.
We got people out there who've been done wrong. Just can't get over it. Can't get over not getting that school you want to get into. Past failures. Disappointments. Holding on to all that shit isn't helping. The sun rises and the sun sets. And you're in the same damn spot. Stay home.
What do you do when 1,000 other people want exactly what you want? What if you're not the only one that wants what you want? What if there are thousands of other people who want what you want? You have to outwork them. You gotta outgrind them. You gotta get up earlier. You gotta stay up later. You gotta execute, and you gotta go from 70 to 120.
Stay focused. Don't listen to nobody. What's on your mind, just do it. Because what's destined for you, you gonna get it.
So I say, as you look into the future, while other people are giving up, feeling like victims, feeling powerless, becoming negative, turning on each other rather than to each other, feeling that they can't make it, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind with the mindset of that it's possible. It's possible that I can find a new profession, a new job. It's possible I can create a new life. And it's necessary that I become actively involved in becoming a positive force in my life. And it's going to be hard. Easy is not an option. But if it's hard, we will do it hard. Whatever is required to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And it's worth it, yes. It's worth whatever we have to do. And once we know that, it is done.
Your biggest enemy is you. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
I need you to confront you because you're the one holding you up. I need you to confront you. I need you to look in the mirror and tell you, you are not going to do me like this no more. You're not going to continue to sabotage me. You're not. You're not going to keep procrastinating. I need you. You're not.
I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income. Your life comes down to your decisions, and if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
Where you want to be in life. And listen to me, at some point in life, you have to tell yourself, because you don't make the adjustment, you don't make the shift in life until you get to the point where you say enough is enough. And listen to me, you deserve better.
Here's what you should know about winning before you chase it. Winning's not loyal to you. It doesn't care about you. Winning doesn't care how sore you are. Winning doesn't care how much sleep you get. Winning doesn't care how hard you work at times. Winning requires all of you and then more, and it promises you nothing. It's a mastermind of creating fear and doubt in your mind. It causes setback after setback. So the question is about winning. Are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown? And why chase this thing called winning? Because the only thing that's guaranteed in life, if you don't chase it, is losing. It's one thing to be hungry, it's another thing when you're starving for greatness and starving for success. I know what it's like to operate every single day, regardless of the success that I've been a lucky son of a bitch to achieve. I operate every day as if I'm starving.
Self-confidence is really someone who keeps promises to themselves, because self-confidence is really like your reputation with yourself. If you've got a great reputation with yourself and you know you can trust you, you're not so concerned about your reputation, what other people think about you.
But more important, I want you to be horrified, terrified of sitting on the sidelines and doing nothing. That is what I want you to be afraid of. Waking up in 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 years or 60 years and being no closer to your goal. You've made no progress. That is the horror. That is the nightmare. That is what you really need to be afraid of, being stagnant. So, get up and go. Take the risk, take the gamble, take the first step, take action. And don't let another day slip by.
No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim.
We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up, expand yourself, take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
And what that shows is that if you turn around and you confront the suffering voluntarily, you find out that you are way tougher than you think. It's not that life is better than you think. Life is as harsh as you think. It might even be worse. But you are way tougher than you think if you turn around and confront it.
It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? The only way to do anything in life is to first change your mindset. Start telling yourself you can do anything through hard work, dedication. One key word in everything with success is learn how to suffer. You must learn how to suffer. Those who suffer win.
To accept our circumstances unconditionally. That's where I call it emotional invincibility. That's where when you get to that point of where you've accepted everything that's ever going to happen to you and you've made peace with it before it even happens. When it happens, you're like, oh, okay, this sucks. Worst thing that I could ever imagine, but I can't change it, so I'm not going to. Problems are difficult enough to move through and overcome. Why add emotional turmoil to those problems? It doesn't help you get through the problem. In fact, it simply makes it harder, it takes longer, or it prevents you from solving the problem altogether because you're so emotionally engaged in it. You can't see, the sunshine through the clouds.
When I'm saying purpose, I think it's about defining your goals, defining what the life you're trying to build is, and having a real model for what you're doing. I think asking yourself questions, yourself a tough question. Who am I? What kind of person do I want to be? You know, is this the right thing to do? Pausing for a second instead of just reacting emotionally all the time is a way to kind of get out of that self-absorbed cycle.
Nobody's gonna come to your house and take you off the couch. I mean, and especially today. So until you understand that you are in charge of, your mental aptitude and the way that you're going to handle life, take on the bumps and bruises, you're never gonna get anywhere.
Quote is this: the question is not, are you worthy to reach your goals? The question is, are your goals worthy enough of you?
I believe that everything happens for a reason, but it's 100% our responsibility to choose the reason.
Because remember, transformation comes from a distressing dilemma. It comes when our worldview is shaken up. And part of that shake-up has to be to help you see that could it be that you are living a tiny slice of your potential.
Life was always giving you a test, trying to give you a way out, trying to give you an excuse not to show up. But guess what? You gotta have the mentality to show up every day of your life.
And the most important thing is you like you. So whatever you wanted to hear, say it to yourself, because your mind doesn't even know that it's coming. And also it doesn't care. Your mind doesn't care what you tell it is right or wrong, or true or false, or even if it's good or bad, it lets it in. And the familiar, unfamiliar, if praise is unfamiliar but criticism is familiar, and if you're not used to praise, you'll reject it, and if you're used to criticism, you'll add it in, because we do what's familiar.
If they look at all their successes, where they're happy or where they've overcome things in life, they realize they dug deep into something. They realize that they didn't take no for an answer. If they look at where they are stuck or challenged, they need to reflect and say, at what point in my life did that starry-eyed person, where did it go? And what took that away? Once you accept that, you'll realize you can get back to where you were, or that good moment, but you just have to take a hard look and take inventory. Until you create that change yourself, like, what do you expect to get out of it? You're gonna get zero.
Realism is nothing more than a socially acceptable form of pessimism. The people with the most consistent track records of success don't think in terms of what is, they think in terms of what could be.
I experience negative emotions, right? And the difference is, what do you do with that emotion, right? So the emotion isn't the problem. It's what do you do with it? It's not that emotional state that's the biggest problem for most people, myself included. It's what we do with that state, and we usually judge it. But don't give it a lot of importance. Don't give that temporary emotional state a significant amount of significance, right? Just go, this is temporary, I accept it, whatever.
You can make anything familiar or unfamiliar. And my advice to everyone is look at your bad habits and make them unfamiliar. And look at what you want, especially praise, and make it familiar.
The way to change the world is to start by changing some tiny thing, right? What matters is, did you make something that stands the test of time, and did you keep working at it past when everyone else would have given up and said, like, it's on to the next thing, or, I'll do this other thing because I can make more money or whatever. Like, you've gotta stay at it and stay at it and stay at it long past whenever the ego gets bored.
You are you. You are who you are. And your vision has to be unique to you. And this is about getting you to think boldly, but not to start the next startup because you want to start the next startup because everybody else is doing it, or become the next best-selling author because everybody else is doing it. It's to figure out what is that unique vision that's emerging from you. What is that life that you want to lead?
It's taking a hard, deep look at your inventory of, what in life was your successes, what were your failures, and how did you learn from them? Taking inventory of where do you want to go, how do you want to be seen? Taking inventory of what is your assets right now. Do you have a certain amount of time? Are you somebody that lights up the room? When you come in, do you want to cure somebody's problem? Do people love you? Are you willing to work harder than everybody else? Where is the empathy you see in the world that's going to need to be changed? So you take inventory of all these and you do some real soul searching, and you're at the first step, bro, living a very fruitful life.
And that's the lesson for everybody, is that we can consciously choose to be. First you accept what you can't change, and then you go, what emotion will best serve me? And I think more often than not, it's gratitude and happiness for the most part, or optimism, is an emotion. But we can be the happiest and the most grateful we've ever been while we are going through the most difficult, painful, scary time in our lives. And here's the thing, it just makes it that much easier. It doesn't mean that it doesn't suck, but it means that you're not letting the fact that it sucks completely control your emotional well-being. But every person that's created extraordinary results, that's changed the world, that's become, financially free, whatever the result is, they established faith that they could do it. The faith was unwavering, and they put forth extraordinary effort until, and the operative word, underline the word, circle the word until they got there. We're programmed in the past, and we need something in writing to program us based on what we want for our future.
No matter what life throws at you, it's our responsibility to show up to the Coliseum of life, prepare for battle. I don't care what you're going through, what life's throwing at you. It's your responsibility to find your new 100%. Take it upon yourself to do that.